KT Corporation, South Korea's biggest phone and internet provider, has reached an agreement with Telkom South Africa to buy a 20% stake in the telco operator for 1.08 billion rand, and that's less than initially indicated. KT plans to pay around 25.60 rand a share, as opposed to the initial offer of 36 rand a share, which was announced in October last year. For more on this, we are now joined on the desk by Dobek Pater, Telecoms Analyst at Africa Analyst. Thank you so much, Dobek, for joining us. Great to have you in studio.
Thanks.
And I mean, just looking at those numbers, when you see what is being put on the table now relative to the initial number that we looked at in October, we're seeing, a very bad deal that could be coming through for Telkom. Would you agree with this?
Yeah, I mean, initially they offered, the Koreans offered 36 rands and a bit, more than 6 months ago. Now they're offering about 25.60, so about a third less than they initially offered. And obviously that's going to reflect in the ultimate amount that will be paid to Telkom. But if you take Telkom's performance over the past several months into consideration, particularly earlier this year, you can't expect the Koreans to pay such a hefty premium and not want to renegotiate that initial offer.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's just go into what the announcement looks like today. Acquiring around 20% stake in the company, at least this is what the initial agreement is, but there's various conditions that need to be fulfilled, and one that's really sticking out for me is the Competition Commission investigation, and we know that there could be quite a hefty bill of around 3.25 billion rand in line for Telkom. Do you think that this is going to be one of the make or break indicators?
Well, potentially could be, although I think in general I think the mood is that Telkom is not going to be settled with such a hefty fine. If they have to be, if they have to pay anything, it will be much less than that. I think Telkom is quite confident on that account as well. But it's certainly, if it were to happen, then obviously that's a fairly onerous payment that Telkom would have to oblige on.
All right, 20% stake, and they're looking at a co-source management services agreement to come through, and they're talking about formalizing the relationships. So we're looking at potential synergies. Could you elaborate for us on that in terms of what we could actually see occurring between KT and Telkom?
Yeah, I mean, KT is a very successful operator in Korea, in South Korea, where it dominates the broadband market, particularly in the fixed line market segment. The South African market is very different, but I think where Koreans certainly can assist Telkom is in part strategy assistance with strategy development, some of the work ethics that Koreans have developed, and experience that they've gained in competing in a market, even though the market is not exactly the same for socio-economic reasons, for geography reasons. But I think in general, Telkom will be able to benefit on that account, apart from the cash that they will be getting, a bit less than before, but still money in the bank.
Okay, so 20% stake is not a controlling stake. Obviously, we know that government stake is now going to be brought down to around 50% or so. So things are changing extensively in terms of the shareholding structure. How is this going to change any sort of real strategic decisions that are going to be made on the ground? Because for another company to come in and buy 20%, it can't really dictate what the moves should be on a day-to-day basis.
No, they can't, but I think they will be represented on the board, and I think an agreement will be reached whereby obviously the Koreans need to be able to have an input into the decision-making process, even though they don't make the final decisions, into the management of the company as well. Otherwise, it would be a purely financial investment for them, and I think Telkom South Africa is probably not the hottest stock in the world from just a pure financial perspective. So it has to be more than that for the Koreans in the deal.
So as you mentioned, a 30% discount to what the initial offer was. So do you think that, and you're talking about whether it's going to be a financial transaction for KT Corp, or whether it would be one where we're seeing a lot of involvement? What about for Telkom? Do you think that this is just purely a financial transaction that's coming through?
Not only. I think especially now that the cards on the table are a bit different than they were 6 months ago. I think Telkom certainly needs the cash because of the ambitious investment program that they have indicated, and in fact started deploying and piloting various segments of it. So any money they can generate or accrue will certainly come in very beneficial to them in order to pursue that. But I think also as indicated from the Korean Telecom's ability to compete in a broadband market, we're moving into a data-intensive market, ability to strategize around that and how to deploy and manage networks, particularly in an urban environment.
Absolutely. So what do you think the first move is going to be if this deal does actually materialize?
Well, I think the first move will be pretty much along the lines that Telkom has been indicating to date. They will continue and think more aggressively with the upgrade of the network, move to a next generation network, deployment of a broadband infrastructure to a greater degree, and further pursuit of, I think, a number of offers or products to both the enterprise market segment and the consumer, the residential market segment, and in pursuit of more of a converged product between the fixed line operations and the mobile operations. And Koreans will be there to assist them along, I think, in developing these products and advising them what could be the best approach from a technical development perspective.
Okay, from what we're seeing on the ground though, there's various unknowns for Telkom, and that being also local loop and bundling. It's quite interesting that KT Corp didn't mention this at all, because it might not work in Telkom's favour as a whole. What is your view on this?
Well, I mean, from what we've learned from ICASA is that local loop unbundling is going to be implemented in the market. I think
we just don't know the structure as yet, so we don't know if it would benefit completely.
It's bit streaming that's going to be implemented first, effectively towards the end of this year, which is a fairly mild form of LLU from a competitive perspective that would be not to Telkom's advantage, and that's something that we've seen across the world, and it's not a train smash. It doesn't mean that Telkom is going to be hugely disadvantaged through that. I think everyone counted on local loop unbundling taking place in South Africa at some point in time, be it sooner or later, and bitstream is the most logical first step forward, and then it will take time to unravel from then.
If this deal does not go through, what is your prognosis and assumption on Telkom going forward?
I think Telkom will still definitely fight the fight. It's very well positioned in the market, particularly when it comes to infrastructure ownership, and when it comes to client base in the enterprise market segment, among large corporates, large companies. It's still the biggest operator in the fixed line market.
Be a very important element in the telecom space in South Africa.
No, it has to be.
But from a share price perspective, Dobek?
Well, share price, it will depend on Telkom's performance. So I think if the Korean deal doesn't come through, it will set Telkom back a bit from the perspective of not having access to additional cash, not having that skills transfer necessarily taking place, but they will continue to develop it internally. And I think they have no way but to improve their position. Otherwise, I don't think you can go much further lower than that than where they're at currently.
So Alan Gray and the PIC still also need to have their say, and whether they agree or not, it might go through. But would you buy the stock based on today's announcement in hope that this is actually going to materialize? Because you did say you're not worried about the Competition Commission fine, so that is one big ball in Telkom's court.
Yes, it's certainly a plus. I think given the fact that Koreans are offering a premium on the current share price, about 2 rands above it, roughly, and obviously depending on how you view the deal going through, I think it's probably.
You're going to finally tell me that Telkom is a buy, Dobek.
I think it's. I won't tell you that outright, but I don't think you can probably do badly, because I think the stakes are a bit more in Telkom's favour at this point, in improving rather than regressing further.
Fantastic, Dobek. Thank you so for joining us. Great to have you in the studio. Much appreciated. Dobek Pater, Telecoms Analyst at Africa Analysis.